Good afternoon everybody. So today we are going to discuss about the computer graphic system. Now what is graphic system? It's referred to creation, storage and manipulation of any picture and drawing using a digital computer. So today we learn about the introduction to computer graphics, type of computer graphics, difference between active and passive graphics. That means how many different type of computer graphics, application of computer graphics, display devices, display processors, coordinate representation of computer graphics. That means how we represent the coordinates. Coordinate means xy coordinates, how we can represent these in computer graphics. Then discuss graphic system, graphic function and standards. Now what is computer graphics? Computer graphics generally a creation of any reality picture or animation and manipulates it and display it virtually. Okay? So representation and manipulation of any picture data by a computer, that means this is a computer graphics. So computer graphics is a combination of two words, graphics and computer. That means we are representing any picture with the aid of computer. That means we are actually representing the xy coordinates in a computer system. Okay. So computer graphics is a subfield of computer science which study methods for digitally synthesizing and manipulating visual contents. Okay. So what is graphic design? Graphic design is the art of conveying virtual concepts from a source through a medium to a human receipt. That means whatever we get data from a human, these data can be converted into a picture or any animation through a computer. Okay, this is computer graphics. The source is a human brain, it can be a source of human brain. The medium is any form of representation, the eye can also a source of information. Okay. So there is different type of images that we can graphic in a computer system. It may be a 2D computer graphics, pixel art, vector graphics, 3D computer graphics, or it may be a computer animations. Now what is the basic difference between active and passive computer graphics? That means there is two type of computer graphics, one is interactive and another is non-interactive computer graphics. Interactive computer graphics, that means user and computer interact with each other, that means there is two-way communication. But whereas in non-interactive computer graphics, that means there is no control over the image. That means there is no interaction between a computer and the user. So on that basis there is a two type of computer graphics, one is active and second is passive graphics. Passive graphic is there is no control over the image, and whereas the active graphic there is a dynamic control over the image. That means there is a two-way communication and there is a user may interact with the image, can manipulate the image and may feed the information into the image. Like we have an example, video games. Okay. So that means you add some pixels, you add some control over the image, then move that particular image in a video game. So video game is an example of active computer graphics. But whereas passive, like advertisement on the TV, that is a passive computer graphics. That means we can't change that computer graphics, or we have not any control over that image. So passive is a one-way communication, but whereas a active computer graphics is a two-way communication. Interaction means, whereas in case of interaction in passive there is no interaction between the user and the hardware, but whereas in computer graphics, active computer graphics, there is a high bandwidth user interaction, whereas in passive earlier supported, but active computer graphics is a recent and modern application. And passive, whereas passive computer graphics is a motion updation, there is no facility. If you are discussing about the motion, animation, there is no animation, there is no updation in a passive computer graphics. Okay, so if you want to design an interactive computer graphics 2D, 3D, that means that type of computer graphics is a passive computer graphics or interactive computer graphics. So next is the application of computer graphics, where we are recently using computer graphics. Okay, so there is some application of computer graphics. First is CAD, computer aided design, presentation, computer arts, entertainment. Entertainment means animation, games, education and training purpose, visualization, image processing, graphical user interface. So these are the computer graphic application. Now how we are using computer graphics in a CAD? That means if you want to design a building, structure, automobile, aircraft, if you are just designing their models. So CAD is a basic software through which we can design a computer graphics. Objects are displayed in wireframe outline form. Okay, so CAD is a software that design the graphics in which we are just design the wireframe outline model of any structure, of any aircraft, automobile. We can design wireframe model also in a CAD. So this is also an example of computer graphics. Software packages provide multi-window environment. Okay, so this is a wireframe model. Okay, so like if you want to design a wireframe or internal working of any machine, there is also with the aid of CAD. So presentation, if you want to present any data, any calculation, okay, so we can design any presentation with the aid of graphics. So computer graphics used to produce illustration for report or generate slides for use with projectors, commonly used to summarize financials, mathematical, scientific and economic data for research report, managerial reports and customer information bulletins. For example, bar charts, line charts, pie charts, surface chart, time chart. So these are the example of graphics. So like in this way, if you want to represent any information, it may be represent like in this way. Okay, if you want to represent same data in the form of line chart, so we have a facility to represent these things in a graphic form. Okay, so like in this way, if you want to same cheese, we can represent in different manner. First is in bar chart form, same thing we can represent line chart, and same thing we can represent in a pie chart. So next is the computer art. Computer art is also an application of computer graphics. Computer graphics used in fine arts and commercial arts, including artist, paintbrush programs, paint packages, CAD packages and animation packages. Okay, so if you want to any designing any cartoons, so computer graphics is also used in arts. These packages provides facility for designing object shapes and specifying object motions. Okay, so morphism is also a big example of computer graphics in arts. So morphism means in which we are transferring one object into another object. That means we are morphism one object to another. For example, cartoon drawing, painting, product advertisement, logo designs. Okay, so in this way, like if you want to design any cartoon, it's also designed with the help of computer graphics. We can also represent these in x and y coordinates also. Okay, so in this way, if you want to design electronic painting in which also graphics is used. That means graphic means we are discussing about x and y pixels. Okay, xy coordinates, pixels. Okay, so picture painted electronically on a graphics tablet using a stencil. Okay, so entertainment also an application of computer graphics. Movie industry is used in motion pictures, music, videos and television shows. Computer graphics is also used in making of cartoon animation movies. Okay. So, beside these things, computer graphics also used in education and training purposes. Okay. Computer generated models of physical and financial and economic systems are used as educational aids. Models of physical systems, psychological systems, population trends or equipment such as color aided diagrams help trainee understand the operation of the system. That means if you want to give a training to a person, then that particular machine, how particular machine is operate and operation to make feel comfortable. So, education purpose is also an media for computer graphics. So, in this way if you want to convey any information to any user, so graphics can be used for scientific and engineering and medical data purpose also. So, training like for example an simulator. Okay. So, simulator is also an example of education and training purpose. Specialized system used for training applications, simulators for practice session or training of ship captains, aircraft pilot, heavy equipment operators, air traffic control personnel. Okay. So, simulator also an example of an application of computer graphics where it is used for education and training purpose. Visualization, producing graphic representation for scientific and engineering and medical data sets. Image processing, for creating any type of image and morphism the image. So, image processing is also an application of computer graphics. Image processing applies technique to modify or interpret existing pictures such as photographs and TV scans. Medical applications, picture enhancement, tomography, simulation of operations, ultrasonic and nuclear medicine scanners. And whereas application of image processing is improving, if you want to improve the picture quality, that means it's also deal with graphic system. Machine perception of visual information like robotics. If you want to design any robotics, firstly you just create their wireframe model, create the model, then perform the actual machine. Like this is an graphic system, internal system of any human body to understand their function and operation of a, like in this way we are just see operation of brain, how they are veins working, where it is lying. Okay. So, graphical user interface, if you designing any type of window operating system, there is also computer graphic packages are lie there. Major components like window managers, multi-window areas you want to design, there is also XY coordinates are there. To make a particular window active, click in that window using an interactive pointing device. Interface display like menus, icons, this is also a graphic system. Icons graphical system designed to look like the processing option it represents. Whereas advantages, what is the advantages of icons, why we use icons menus, that means we are just design a operating system that will be a user friendly. Okay. Menus contain list of textual description and icons. So, like in this way if you just design a button and you just click the button and perform a particular operation, there is no need to create any type of coding, just push and give the results. Okay. So, what is computer graphic system, actually what they are functioning in this. Okay. So, there is a input system, processors, memory, frame buffer and output devices. That means we are using input devices to fed the information to the processor, and processor perform their function and store the information into the memory, and that stored information after processing comes in the frame buffer. Actually image is formed in the frame buffer, and then appropriate pixel is glow and output devices will show the output. Okay. So there is number of input devices like keyboards, mouse, trackball, spaceball, joystick, data glove, digitizer, image scanners, touch panels, in light pens, voice system. These are the input devices. Now keyboard, that means there is number of keys here we are pressed, okay, to fed the information into the computer system. That means we are dealing with the interactive computer graphics. That means we are feeding the information into the system. Okay. So mouse, moving the mouse turns the ball, xy coordinates roller grips the ball and transfer movements. Optical encoding disc including light holes, infrared LEDs shine through the disc, sensors gather light pulses to convert to x and y velocities. Next is optical mouse. There is number of and variety of techniques are also applied in mouse, like simple mouse, LED mouse, optical mouse, wireless mouse. Okay. So optical mouse, surface independent, uses an optoelectronic sensors to take successive picture of the system on which the mouse is operating. Okay. Most of these mice use LEDs to illuminate the surface that is being tracked. Trackball, trackball is a pointing device. CAD workshop for ease of use, that means CAD workshop is mainly using the trackballs. Some clip onto the side of the keyboard and have integral buttons which have the same function as mouse button is performing. Okay. So trackball is quite similar with the trackball. Trackballs are sometimes seen on computerized special purpose workshops such as radar consoles in an air traffic controls room or sonar equipments on a ship or submarines. Okay. So in submarines, sonar equipments, air traffic control, they all are using trackballs instead of mouse. Spaceball, a 6 degree of freedom input device, we can say such 6 degree of freedom input device developed by 3 DC concessions designed to ease navigation in 3D computer model. Major used by CAD and computer graphic professionals. Okay. So spaceball basically used for CAD operators and professional computer graphics designer. Okay. So next is joystick. That means joystick, actually normally we have already operate in a video games. Okay. So you very well known about the joystick. Generally control device consists of an handheld stick that pivot about one end and transmit its angle in 2 or 3 dimensions. That means we just setting their angles, moving their angles only. Available as 2D dimensional and 3D. 2D having 2 axes of movement. Okay, that means if we are moving 2D dimension, that means there is x and y, only we can move up and down, but whereas in 3 dimension there is 3 movements, 3 movement twisting the stick left, right, signal along signal movement along the z axis. Okay, that means if we are moving 2D, that means x and y, if we are moving 3D, that means x, y and z. Okay. Touch panels like ATM system that we are using right now, these are the example of touch panels. Pressure sensitive, okay, these are also sensitive panels. So pressure sensitive, electrical sensitive, acoustical sensitive, okay, photosensitive. So these are the different type of touch panels. Either it may be a touch, either may be a electrical, or either may be a photosensitive. So there are different type of touch panels. So data glove equipped with sensors that senses the movement of the hand, and interfaces those movement with the computer. Okay. Commonly used in virtual reality environment where the User seen an image of the data glove and can manipulate the movement of the virtual environment using the glove. Next is digitizer, a computer peripheral device that allows one to hand draw images directly onto a computer, generally through an imaging program. They consist of a flat surface upon which the user may draw an image using an attached stencil, a pen-like drawing apparatus. Okay. So, the image generally does not appear on the tablet itself, but it is displayed on the computer screen. Image scanners. Scanner is an input device that analyzes a physical image or an object and convert that image into a digital image. Senses the image, senses the physical image, convert that image into an object, and that object is converted into a XY digital form. Okay. Types of scanner available: desktop or flatbed scanners, handle scanners. Both these type of scanners uses a charge coupled devices as a image sensor. Drum scanner uses a photo multiplier tube as the image sensor. Next is the light pen. Light pen is also a computer device in the form of light sensitive and used in conjunction with the computer CRT monitors. Okay, it allows the user to point to display object or draw on the screen in a similar way to touch screen, but with greater positional accuracy. Okay. So, it can work with any CRT based monitor, but not with LCD screens projectors. That means light pen is also it may can work with any CRT based monitor, but not with LCD monitors or screens. Okay. So, it works by sensing the sudden small change in the brightness of a point on the screen when the electronic gun refreshes that support. Okay. So, this is an light pen example. Next is voice system. Voice system also a input device. Voice system input can be used to initiate graphics operation to enter data. That means we have fed the information and give command to the system that makes our image to move up and down. Okay. So, microphone is such designed to minimize input of other background sound. Words as spoken by the operator is stored so as to analyze and recognize the speech pattern. Okay, speech pattern. So, next is a hard copy devices. There is a printer is a good example of hard copy devices. There is two type of printers, impact printer and dot matrix printers. Okay. So, impact printers, dot matrix printers, non-impact printers, laser printers, inkjet printer, electrostatic devices. Plotter is a non-impact printer. There is two type of plotters. Plotter is a flatbed drum plotters. Okay. So, next is a display technology or display devices. Display devices are CRT, LCD, LEDs, plasma panel, raster scan display, vector scan display. These are the technology used in computer graphics. So, CRT is a basic display devices, mostly commonly used display devices today. Evacuated glass bottle, extremely high voltage heating. There is an components of CRT, heating elements, electrons pulled toward anode, focusing cylinder, vertical and deflection plates. There is beam striking phosphorus coated on the front of tube. So, what is the electron gun? Electron gun contains a filament that when heated emits a stream of electron. That means the electron gun emits their electron. Okay, that electron strike onto the phosphorus screen and that screen pixels glow according to their setting. Electrons are focused with an electromagnetic into a sharp beam and directed to a specific point of the face of the picture tube. The front surface of the picture tube is coated with the small phosphorus dots. When the beam hits a phosphorus dot, it glows with the brightness proportion to the strength of the beam. Here is the CRT monitors. There is 3 electron gun, okay, in which we have fed red, green or blue. According to the deflection plates, horizontal and vertical, the pixel strike onto the screen. CRT properties. There is 4 CRT properties: persistence, resolution, addressability and aspect ratios. Persistence. How long small spots continue to emit light after the beam is moved. That means how long they stay onto the screen. How long it takes to the emitted light from the screen to decay to 1/10 of its original intensity. Lower persistence require high refreshment rate. Must be noted that point. Lower persistence requires high refresh rate and it is good for animation. That means animation is required low persistence. That means low persistence is required high refreshment rate. That is good for animation. Higher persistence is useful for displaying higher complex static pictures. For animation pictures, there must require lower persistence, but whereas in static pictures we require high persistence. Graphic monitors are usually constructed with 10 to 60 microseconds. So resolution, what is resolution? Resolution is the number of points per inch or centimeters that can be plotted either horizontally or either vertically. The smaller the spot size, the higher the resolution. If you want to make their picture more clear, quality is high, that means you should make their spot size smaller. Smaller the size, higher the clarity, higher the resolution. The higher the resolution, the better is the graphic system. Okay, higher the resolution means higher or good quality of graphic system. Higher resolution is in this figure, they must be in this figure. Adjacent point will appear distinct as long as their separation is greater than the diameter at which each spot has intensity of about 60% of that at the center of the spot. Now next property is the addressability. Addressability is the measuring of the spacing between the center of the vertical and horizontal lines. Okay, that means spacing between the horizontal and vertical lines. The picture on a screen consists of intensified points. The smaller addressable point on the screen is called the pixels or picture elements. In graphics mode, there are 800 into 60 addressability modes. Now last is the aspect ratio. This number gives a ratio between the vertical point and horizontal point. That means we are discussing about the vertical and a horizontal. That means x and y points. An aspect ratio gives the ratio between x and y points necessary to produce equal length line in both direction on the screen. Aspect ratio is equals to 3/4 means vertical line with 3 point is equals in length to horizontal line of 4 points. Okay. So next is vector display. The electron beam vector display is also known as a random scan display. So the electron beam is directed only to the part of the screen where a picture is to be drawn. Like plotters, it draw a picture one line at a time. Used in line drawing and wireframe display. Okay, random scan display is basically used in line drawing and wireframe display. Picture definition is stored as a set of line drawing commands stored in a refreshed display files. Refresh rate depends on number of lines. In case of random scan display, refresh rate must be depend on the number of lines. Okay, refresh rate cycle is 30 to 60 times each seconds, capable of drawing this type of short lines at this refresh rate. So, advantages of vector display: generates a higher resolution than other system. Okay,